Almost nothing in life is black and white. There's always, most of the time, there's gray area. And there's no yes and no questions. There's always depth to something. There's always many layers. That's why I love Islam, because there's no yes and no. It's yes, but in this case, no. No, in this case, yes. Because anything can happen at any moment. So nothing, that's why I'm so confused when people call Islam extreme or backward. It literally makes the most sense of all religions. People ask Imam or Shaykh a question and he's answering the question, and everyone in the comments is like, oh, just say yes or no, you're avoiding the question. He's explaining it to you and also giving you examples, because that's how people learn. There's no yes and no questions. That's like we have halal and haram, but then we have makruh. For example, you can't eat pork. It's haram to eat pork, it's sin. But if you are in a situation when there is no other food than pork, you can eat it. See, in that scenario, you can. Same with everything else. When it comes to, I don't know, I asked the most famous question, how old was Aisha? Well, between 16 to 19. We cannot be for sure, but when you do the math, it's between 16 and 19. Even if it was lower at that time, that was normal, because age of adulthood has always been changed through, ages, centuries, blah, blah. So yeah, there's no yes and no question. There's explanations. If you really want to learn something, you need to listen to more than 1 minute, okay? So no Islamic scholar is ever avoiding the question. They are deeply answering your question. They are being specific. You just don't want to hear, because your heart is blinded by hatred. Also, Islam is very scientific. Have you ever seen a scientist not explaining you stuff and just saying yes and no? Of course not. When something is specific, and literally everything is specific, a knowledgeable person needs to give you an example, an explanation. It's never yes and no. So stop telling scholars, Islamic scholars, oh, you're just avoiding the question. No, he's explaining and giving examples like he should.